I heard somebody say my name in this bitch. No way, no way, no. Cause ain't nobody trying to play with us. No way, no way. Welcome to another episode of Let's Real Talk About It. I told you guys I was going to be doing a very diverse show, bringing you a lot of different things. I'm extremely proud of today's episode. We have an Emmy award-winning sports reporter in the building, and he's taking the time out to talk to us about a lot of things. I'm interested for you guys to hear his story and find out all about him, man. Let's bring him in. Kevin Cuenca, what's good, my brother?
Flawless real talk. How are you,
Man,
sir?
thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us, my brother.
No, I'm just pumped for you that you've established this and you're building this from the ground up, because I think we've seen, across the board, like the window for artists, you may have like a certain year or window for your peak, and you're creating something that you can do literally for the rest of your life. So between the
Absolutely,
music
man.
and tours and this is dope. It's good to
Yeah,
see.
especially with the quarantine, you know what I mean? Like it's been a good way for me to have another outlet of content, with the music. And after the show, having the exposure, we've been able to
Mhm.
bring on some professionals who kind of want us to hold the music. So it's like, all right, well, you know what? While I work on this project before everything gets back, I'm gonna do a podcast and I'm gonna show a different side of myself. And who says we can't do everything, right?
That's right. Yeah. And at the end of
Absolutely.
the day, it just gives you more training for what you've got ahead of you and all the crazy interviews and show opportunities that you'll get in your future because of your many talents, man.
For sure. What have you been doing during this quarantine the most to keep you busy and keep your mind busy?
I've honestly been more busy now than maybe ever. For the
Wow.
last like 3 months, I was creating a merch website. So I had basically three different designs that a good friend of mine, Derek Green, created for me. And from there, I was able to create like 90 products. So I just put that up on my Instagram at Kevin
Oh
Cuenca
wow.
TV. So you'll see like the little link in your bio, as the OnlyFans chicks would say, and it's basically just a link to different products. Everything from hats to leggings for women to
Dope.
t-shirts, unisex sweatshirts, everything. So it was a ton of work. And dude, when I launched the website on Tuesday, bro, as soon as I posted the video, it crashed. And
Oh
because
wow.
I had like the lowest tier hosting on
Yeah,
GoDaddy.
yeah. I
And so I
feel
had
you.
no idea. Like, it was my first time doing anything like this. So it was a great learning experience, and obviously had to like bump it up so that it could handle people. But right away started getting some support and some orders and stuff. So like yourself, we find ways to diversify what we can do in these challenging times where it's like, okay, I'm going down this path and I thought this is all I was going to have to do. And now things are changing on me. So let's
Yeah.
adjust and let's figure it out.
That's hilarious about the GoDaddy thing because the exact thing happened to me after the show. Somebody was warning me. It's like, dude, your site's gonna crash. I'm like, why? Like, I didn't. Why? What are you talking about? I paid the monthly. Like, I'm
Yeah.
good. $12.99 is there, bro. Like,
Exactly.
it was a wrap. It was a wrap. I had to learn the hard way and get my site back up. So I feel you on that, man. That's really
Mhm.
good. We see, unfortunately, another incident with another social injustice, another African American man
Yeah.
killed, and the riots in Minnesota that's happening right now. It's so unfortunate what's happening. What do you think is the solution to the rioting? Like, I understand the frustrations.
Mhm.
What makes everybody go home and say, okay, we're gonna go home? Is it's not like they're gonna come out and say, "Hey, we're gonna treat everybody equal from here on out. Just go home." I understand the frustration of what we must do. I believe our power is in our dollar, in the dollars that we spend,
Mhm.
and the companies and corporations that we support. How do you feel about the just not even just the social injustice, because we know we've been dealing with it, but the reaction? What do you feel is the best reaction to how we should deal with this?
I think, like you mentioned, dollars are powerful,
Yes.
votes are powerful,
Mm,
um, but you also have, that's only on this side of the fence. And then on the other side of the fence, what I spoke about when I made a video for my social media platforms is there has to be accountability. There has to be arrests. There has to be prosecution and conviction.
Mhm.
And so, what we've seen now is one of the 4 police officers who were involved directly and were on that scene.
Has been arrested.
Yeah. So 1 has been arrested and 3 haven't. And
Mm.
if you were to say, hey, how do we avoid this riot? You could look at it from the perspective of to the rioters, or you could also take the perspective of, look, this would not have happened if you came right out and said,
Acted immediately.
you got to. It's the video is right there, and I understand that there's a due process, and there's you got to look at the different evidence that's in front of you. But golly, I mean, how out of touch can you be when
Yeah, it's blatantly just
it's
in your
right in
face.
front of you
There's
guys?
nothing.
And I think
Yeah.
that's what's really scary, is that there's so many times where we don't have this kind of video evidence, broad daylight, phones right there, and you're seeing the person, and literally they're passing away in front of you. Whereas this is one of those cases where it's right there, guys. Like, you got to look at this stuff and understand that on the other side of that police vehicle are 2 more men holding this person down.
Mm.
And then there's a 4th person who's literally controlling the situation so that nobody else can help them. And that's what's really scary, man.
I
So
think.
I,
I
I
think
would just say, like, make arrests, and
Yeah,
would be right.
yeah. The rioting is more of, we're not gonna tolerate. We're not gonna
That's it.
sit at home, and I just, when I see it, I understand it. I understand the frustration, and I'm just wondering how we come together as people, and where everybody understands. Okay, this is how we're gonna react. I know Ti called for a blackout on July 7th where we don't spend any money. I'm okay with that. I'm willing to take part in that and see if it makes a difference. You know what I mean? And how we react, but we'll see how things are moving forward in 2020. It's been a really fucked up year, bro.
It has. And I think just man to man, like, I think ideas like that are great. Hey, July 7th, let's not spend any money. I think what would be much more impactful than that, or in addition to that, is like, if we go right back on July 8th and spend all the money, then who gives a shit? What did we really accomplish?
Yeah,
But
what is one day really gonna? Yeah, I feel you.
right. But if you're able to say, all right, we're not spending any money on July 7th, and then moving forward, or even starting right now, we're not going to support these certain businesses that are aligned with the system that has been created to keep this and perpetualize this,
Yes, and spread that list.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
And I think that's
that's a great
when we
idea.
talk about some longer term goals, like you mentioned, the power of the dollar, it's right there, but we have to be willing to band together for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree. We're gonna talk a little bit about your history, but I want to know, who is Kevin Cuenca today?
Kevin Cuenca today. First and foremost, a son and a brother, and then someone who is passionate about creating my own content and just bringing it directly to people. I'm sure we'll get into more of it, but I did work on the news as a sports reporter and sports anchor for 15 years. So in that business, you're giving all your energy to a station and you're appeasing your bosses, essentially, to build your career. And now I'm in a place where I can literally make what I want and not have to have it be
Answer to
censored
anybody.
anyway. Exactly. Like, just do my thing. And I think that's so powerful and freeing. And it's only been my reality for, gosh, like a year and a half now. So
Isn't it the most freeing feeling in the world? And a lot of people don't see how much it takes to survive it. When you decide to take that leap and say, you know what, I'm gonna go all in. This is how I'm gonna live, or I'm not gonna live at all. And then when you do that, you fall, and then you continue to kind of fight through it. And then you build this tolerance, right? You build this tolerance of just being able to fight through anything. And I think people that have been through the most, like somebody like yourself, which we're going to talk about right now, really build that tough skin and can really get through anything. And I think you're going to be, more than fine moving forward, for sure. I know you grew up in Washington. I mean, you were born in Washington State, but you grew up in Napa, right?
So close. I was actually born in
Okay.
San Diego, but second
Okay.
grade we moved to Washington State. So dad was in the Navy. We actually moved a little bit before that, like when I was real young, like my first couple years. I mean, I'm talking like 6-month moves. We were like
Yeah.
in Virginia for a little stint, and then we were in the Bay, and then back to San Diego, all before I could even have any memories.
Wow.
But because my dad was in the Navy, we were moving. And then second grade, we moved from this little cul-de-sac in San Diego where it was very diverse. Like my best friends were, Black and Filipino, and I just remember this really diverse, multicultural cul-de-sac in San Diego where we'd play sports till it got dark, and it was just like this. It was like an athletic kid's dream, and I say athletic, just someone who loves sports. It's like it would be like our dream growing up. And so we moved from that kind of community to, in second grade, we moved to Washington State, and then it was like, okay, our closest neighbors are a 15-minute walk from us. It was crazy. So it was this real, we were like little hick boys back in the day, and like had a freaking tractor trailer. It was like a total different world, bro. But we were there until 8th grade, and then moved down to Napa when my parents divorced. So came down and spent my high school years in Napa. And then after that is when I went to Syracuse for college in upstate New York.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been, looking back on it, I was really bummed out when we left San Diego and when we had to move away from all our friends and stuff. But it's like you spend enough time in different areas growing up, and it helps you further on in life because you're able to relate to people from different walks of life, and B, I think it helped me a lot in terms of just doing interviews and being able to empathize and relate to different folks. And I think it's actually helped me a ton, especially now with what I'm doing as well.
I think it also helped you as an adult where you had to travel, because I know that you did sports broadcasting in where you were growing up in Napa, and then you moved down to Texas to do sports as well. Tell me what the biggest culture shock was for you moving around, even as a kid or as a grown up. What was like when you finally got somewhere and you was like, wow, that's different. You know what I mean?
Bro, College Station, Texas is a whole different world.
I've never been.
Yeah, so Texas A&M is the big university there.
Yep.
And so within the sports teams and stuff, it's very diverse, and you have plenty of athletes from all different walks of life, from different places of the country, because it's a big school and they recruit from different states.
Yep.
But man, the town itself was like, pickup trucks and Confederate flags and that kind of scene. And so I would actually drive on weekends. I was only there like 11 of my life, but I would actually go to Houston a lot because I had a couple good friends in Houston, and it was about an hour-and-a-half drive. And it was like you see Slim Thug at a sushi bar, you hear you see Kurt Cobain's at the club. It was like being in a regular city, like someone like you and I would be comfortable in. So it was my way of getting away from College Station. But I was really grateful because I was able to work there for a little shy of a year and then go to San Antonio. And San Antonio is where I stayed for 3.5. So really the brunt of my time was in San Antonio, and I got to work with amazing people, cover the Spurs in the NBA Finals, go with them to Germany. Like the stuff that I went to Texas thinking I was going and hoping that I would get to do happened at that second job. Definitely not at the first, but it's what it took for me to get to the second job.
So was Texas more of a culture shock than Syracuse? Because I know Syracuse.
For sure. Okay. Yeah, no, for Syracuse, it was like, Syracuse was different for sure. Don't get me wrong, especially the winters and all that. But, for the most part, I fell in with a great group of friends. A lot of them were from New York City and Jersey. Most of the kids are actually from New York City and now have since moved to Jersey. But, like I just met the greatest friends, bro. I was literally the first freshman year, I was the only white kid on our intramural basketball team. And then
nice.
The next couple years.
That's why you could ball.
Yeah. And that was the second, the years after that, it was myself and this guy, Pat. And then, everybody else were like New York City kids from Brooklyn and the Bronx and Queens and all that. So, and they just really like looked after me, man. To be honest with you, I never had a sip of alcohol since my senior trip of high school. So when I got to Syracuse, it was like, all right, my older brother doesn't drink. Our dad was an alcoholic. His parents are alcoholics. Like if I can just not drink in college, I don't think I'll ever have to drink again in my life, because those really more challenging years. And like those first few weeks, it's like, all right, where are you going to go hang out? You're going to go to these frat parties? Are you going to go to the gym? Like, where are you going to find your circle? And I was really fortunate to find that circle at the basketball courts. And I stayed with those guys for 4 years, man. It really helped me. So yeah, it was different being at Syracuse, but Texas it was way different, just because of the way of thinking, and just the lack of diversity in the city itself. And it was just, don't get me wrong, met some great people, but that was more of a culture difference than I had been used to.
So you did the sports casting down in Texas, and you do that for a little over 15 years, right?
Yeah, in total. So I had my first 6 years were up in the Bay Area, and then after that, I spent about 5 in Texas, and then I made the leap to LA.
Wow, that's amazing. What do you think kept you going? I know, throughout those 15 years, I know you had ups and downs. I know you had struggles. We all have our years of, of starving, artists of years, so to speak, where we're really, going through everything to try to make it through. What kept you? Was it being a part of those sports events, like being able to do the finals? Was like, you know what,
Mm.
I'm doing this. Did it keep you motivated and keep going? Was your love for sports? Was that it?
There was a lot of different things that kept me going, man, to be honest with you. I mean, it was just the time that I had already put in. It
Mm.
was, the relationships I have with, especially my mom, and wanting to make her proud. Because, I had invested my time and my money into Syracuse, a college fund that, my grandparents had left. So I
What did
didn't
you major
feel
in?
broadcast journalism
Oh,
at
nice.
Syracuse.
Okay.
Because Syracuse has a really good communications school. The Newhouse School is like, there's a lot of um, reporters and anchors and play-by-play broadcasters. It's very well known.
Okay.
So that was really why I went to Syracuse, was for
Mm.
that. So it was always like, hey man, I've gotten this far, and I'm not just gonna let something get me off. But I definitely had to, like, listen to Nipsey Hussle. At that time, the Marathon mixtape had just dropped when I had got my first job in Texas. So his music
Oh,
helped me
wow.
get from there to San Antonio, and that was really where my love for Nip started. And then from there, it's just like you start getting closer and closer. The toughest part, especially from when I was in San Antonio and wanting to get back to California, because that was always the end goal for me. The toughest part is you just don't know when it's going to happen. So
Mm.
it's not like a typical job, in the sense of, and this, being an artist, like, it's not like, hey, you work here for 2 years, and then you'll go here for 2 years, and then the last person that did this
Oh,
after 5 years, then so you had like kind of something in your
automatic.
head,
No,
a
you
timeline,
never know.
you just don't know. And that can be the most trying part of it all. But
And it's the if ever, right? It's not
yeah,
even when. It's
yeah,
like I have to work to make sure it's not even when, it's if ever.
yeah.
That's the psychological part that is the toughest when you're an entrepreneur, when you're pushing a brand, when you want to be your own boss. You always have to fight every single day, because it is possible, if ever, it will never happen. You know what I mean? And that's what I try to explain to people. A lot of people don't understand the work ethic. And I'm like, you don't understand. If you really want something to happen, you have to work hard. I'm talking like you have to dedicate your life, because then you're just wasting your time, because it might not happen. That might not happen is right there. You know what I mean? It's very possible. Actually, the percentages are with it not happening. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
So you started incorporating hip hop into your broadcasting.
Hmm.
When did things start to affect you negatively for that?
To be honest with you, never, up until the very end. I mean, it was like,
Oh, okay.
to be completely honest with you, there was never a time where producers or, you know,
You had been doing this your entire career. This wasn't something that you started. Was you doing this in Texas as well?
I think, to be fair, someone like a Stuart Scott,
Mm.
his style was much more hip hop heavy. He definitely,
Yeah, he would always
it
call
was
hip hop
who he
lyrics.
was, right?
Hmm.
Um, I would that really wasn't my style. I was more like I would slay some slick shit here and there. And I would, I would incorporate hip hop here and there, but it wasn't like
a one-liner.
yeah. And like,
Yeah.
I think for some people, because remember, whether it's music or reporting or anchoring, it's all subjective. So one person could hear your stuff and be like, I love him. Another person could, hear me do a report and be like, I love it. Another person could hear it and be like, the fuck, who's this guy think he is? I don't like him. So you want to use it here and there, but not have it be overbearing, right? And so I would A, find my spots in my broadcast, and then B, when I was in San Antonio, would start to do like, music in my car. But at that time, you're just posting it on Facebook. There's no, like, there was Twitter, but I don't think I was posting it on there. And
So
I really wasn't even on Instagram like that, right?
Yeah.
It was more so when I was in LA about 3 years ago. I started doing like, I'm in the car, turn on the radio, and I start rapping to whatever song's on, right? But that day, I had a tie on, and when I watched it back, and Daz Dillinger reposted it, and I got some new fans and stuff.
It was different.
I was like, that looks different. Like, that looks funnier, Kev. You need to stick with that. And I didn't mean to talk in third person there, but it was like I was watching it thinking, hey, this looks cool. This looks different than the ones that you do on the way to the gym and you got a t-shirt on. Like, this actually has a funnier look to it. Do that again. And so I continued. And so that was 3 years ago. And so I did that for 2 years. And the final year of that, basically like a year ago, is when right after the Super Bowl, I had done a rap actually on a morning show. We were at the Super Bowl. Morning shows are typically a little more loose. There's more time. There you have like kind of goofier segments and stuff. And one of the anchors said, hey, Kev, your Instagram's hilarious. By now, it's like for a year now, people had been like,
how many followers are you at this point?
I was at like probably 80,000, 85, maybe
So
90.
You're bringing attention to the station.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, numerous people who were on air had like shouted it out on air. Hey, you guys got to check out Kevin's Instagram. It's hilarious, blah, blah, blah. And people were coming up to me at the newsroom that would see it or whatever. And so
now this is happening for months. You feel safe.
Yeah.
You feel safe.
Yeah, because like I had literally like the people who you drive by in the city and you see their faces up on the billboards. Those are the people saying like, we got to figure out how to get this in the show more. And so I, at this point, had this real false sense of security, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And had I never gone to the Super Bowl to cover it, I might have never been fired. I honestly think that being at the Super Bowl on that morning show, one of the reporters or the anchor said, hey, can you do this for us? I was like, yeah, played along, did a Andre 3000 verse for like 30 seconds, right? And as soon as I got off air, the producer was like, that was hilarious, this is great, blah, blah, blah. It goes up on the website. And then by that night, someone had taken the website link down. So someone had gone onto the CBS website from a producer or whatever, a web guy, and had taken the link down. And so I was like, oh, that's weird. Something's off, right? And so I come back from Atlanta, and I was off for 2 days, and I went back in for work a couple days later, and that was when, like, immediately was brought into to get fired, essentially. So what I honestly think happened in my heart of hearts was,
do you think the Super Bowl was too big of a platform to do that?
No, what I think happened was, well, in some respects, yes. And I'll explain why. I think because of the Super Bowl, you have people from corporate watching. So you have like the New York City bigwigs who don't have any connection to me or the LA culture or just life for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so all it really takes, man, anytime you're in a corporate space, is one person who has power to not like it. Like we said, it's subjective. And I totally understand that. And just say, hey, like, I don't like this. Bro. I'm now looking at this guy's social media. I don't like this either. And then they make a call to your boss and say, hey, did you know that this was going on?
And he's going to act like he didn't, of course.
Exactly.
Hey,
man, it's part of the game. It's
for sure.
Corporate space, and so I don't hold any ill will feelings to them.
What do you think is the stigma or not the stigma, but what do you think is I mean, we're talking even we just talked about the social injustice. It's
Mhm.
not just cops and black people. I mean, there's a social injustice against hip hop when it comes to media, when it comes to a lot of different things. What do you think was the problem? I know you didn't do any videos that contain the N word. I know you didn't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
any profanity. I know you
yeah,
were careful with the music that you chose.
yeah.
What do you think was the biggest problem? Is it just hip hop is a problem in general for them, for corporate America?
And it might not. It can literally just be a problem for one person, man.
Yeah,
Like, because if they have the power, that's it.
that's
It's
true.
funny when I'm home. I love my mom to death, and she loves music. Like I grew up listening to Elton John, James Taylor, and she would play music endlessly while she's cleaning and doing stuff around the house. Um, when hip hop, like when rap music is on, it drives her absolutely crazy. And it's not even the words, bro. And she's like the most hip, like she's the kind of mom that everybody in the neighborhood would want to be around, right? She's that kind of mom. She's not super uptight. She's really easy to get along with. But it's for her, she's real auditory sensitive, and the beats for her just drive her crazy. And like I think there's some of it's that, some of it is just stereotypes, some of it's they're not even actually listening to what the artist is saying. It's just the sound itself is
Mhm.
like really unappealing to them. Um,
I mean, some people feel that way about rock and roll. You know
Absolutely, yeah,
it's
totally.
not
It's
even
all
like about
subjective.
what the song is about. It's just the actual genre of the music or the way the music is played
Yeah,
is a problem. You know what I mean? For some people. So
yeah.
I can understand that for sure. What do you think was the moment that you said, you know what? Because you could have easily backpedaled. You could have said, you know what? Listen, don't fire me. I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'll keep it. I feel like, I mean, I don't know if you did, to be honest, but
Yeah. We'll talk
um,
about it.
I feel like you stood your ground and backed what you believe in and what you were doing. What made you kind of go against the grain and maybe not go to another network and not do that? You could have went to another station and maybe not
Yeah,
done that, because with your experience and your credentials, I'm sure you could have found a job anywhere. What has made you say, "Fuck the system. I'm gonna go and do my own thing"?
that's a great question. Uh, I'll answer it in two parts. I think A, the reason why, like when I was fired, even that really wasn't part of the discussion as far as like, okay, well, would you stop doing this or how could we
Mm,
never? That's also why I thought it came from above my boss, like on a more of a corporate level from New York, as opposed to like directly in LA.
there's no conversation.
It didn't strike me as the kind of thing where it was like, hey, Kev, you can't be doing this. It was more like, hey, I'm already gonna fire you because I'm
They
saving
found
my own
out.
ass. You
Yeah,
know
it
what I
was
mean? Like
like
I
they
gotta
found out
save my
about this.
own job and act like I didn't know this shit was going on, so I gotta fire you. But even if they had, bro, the last 6 months leading up to my firing, I was already saving up money because my goal was to leave by my birthday of that year, which is end of
Oh,
July.
wow. So that
So
was
I had
God.
already been preparing for that. And
That was
so
God. You were ready. That was your sign.
that was it. And I think we have to be willing to be. I love this saying, which is you get comfortable being uncomfortable. We
Mm.
can get so set in our ways, and granted, for everybody it's different. If you've got a wife, kids, or you got people you're taking care of, it can be totally different. Or if you're barely making ends meet, it can be totally different. Living check to check. Fortunately, I was in a space where I don't have a wife and kids yet. I'm able to pocket some of this money month to month to live and to save up. And I was in a space where I was like, okay, this happened, but I didn't feel the need to go back to another station or try to work somewhere else because I was already planning on doing my own thing and betting on myself and just going all in on creating my own content and partnering with brands and doing
That's
my own stuff.
amazing.
So
Yeah,
that
that's amazing.
and I think it's important for us all to realize when you're taking a step like that and you're taking a leap of faith, so to say, that the experience that you have before that leap, people can't take away from you. Like no one can say, okay, if you don't make it in this social media space or working with brand space, that now your 15 years of TV experience is
Out the
disappeared.
window.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
like we have to remind ourselves, like I've still got this experience that I can go back to at any time in my life, but I'm not getting any younger, and I'm essentially just sitting on my hands at this point. Like, give it your all, and then go back to what you have to if you have to.
Your resume is something nobody can take from your 15 years. Your you know what I mean. You're an award-winning sports reporter. You can always go back to that. It's never over for that. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely, and I needed to remind myself that, because yeah, there's times where you're like, all right, am I really making the right decision? Or I'm walking away from this solid, easier lifestyle. And yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, man, you don't want to be, you and I, we don't want to be on our rocking chairs looking back thinking like, man, what if we would have just taken that leap of faith? And your career is a testament to that. And I feel like mine is as well, where it's you take these leaps along the way, and the whole time you're essentially just betting on yourself, and understanding and believing that you can do it, and that no one's gonna believe you more than yourself. You've got to like really feel that, and be fueled by it as well.
So I know that coming up working in LA as a reporter, you covered a lot of Laker games. You know, you've interviewed Kobe Bryant, I
Yeah,
believe, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, Tell me what the death of Kobe meant to not only you but the city of LA, and what that was like. You know, because I was actually in LA when it happened. I was on a flight to LA when I found out. I was so devastated, man. I idolized Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that like? What was that darkness over LA? I mean, that day was just so dark. And I actually, I don't want to say that I'm like happy that I was in LA, because that's a
Yeah.
wrong way to kind of put it. But I felt the darkness, and I felt the heaviness in the city because I was in the city. And I kind of like I felt like the pain, you know? I'm fortunate that I was in LA because I wanted to, like, I can really relate to that pain. Tell me
Yeah.
about that pain.
For the first time, I've talked to colleagues about this, because for the most part, when big news stories like that had happened for the last 15 years, I'd be working. So I'd be at a station. You either got to go cover it if it's close to you, or you're at least talking about it on the news, right? But that was the first real monumental, like crazy life, occurrence and event that I was able to just process as a normal human. Like,
Wow.
wake up, okay, this has just happened. This is crazy. I'm going to go drive down near the Staples Center now, and I'm going to go mourn with people who were around a mural. And it's crazy because the mural and where that I chose to go to, and where people were laying down flowers and candles, etc., was like maybe 100 feet from a Nipsey Hussle mural, and Nipsey's pointing down the alley toward Kobe. And then after that, I drove to a basketball court and got some shots up. And so I really just spent the day in LA and was just out and about, and didn't have to do any live shots or go bug people for interviews, or like act like I was really being thoughtful to them when I really just needed a soundbite before this hit that's at 5:15, and now I got to hurry up because of traffic and shit. It's like when you're covering those events, man, you have to. It's almost like you're fabricating feelings. Like you feel it, but you're not able to really even take the time to feel it. So you're just like acting like you're sad as you're interviewing people, because your whole thing is like, I got to get this interview done and this interview done, and we got to edit it, and we've got to. It's like you never even get to really
process real
no,
pain.
dude. It's like that was the first time that I actually could like really just be around people out of, because that's what I wanted to do, because that's where my heart was taking me, as opposed to like, I'm here because I'm now looking for the person who I think would be the best interview here. It's a totally different way of being around folks, and experiencing something and processing
And
something.
grieving. Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So I was really fortunate, like yourself, to where we felt like we were at a space that we could actually just feel it and be there with people
It
and
was so dark,
process it.
so heavy, man. It felt
Yeah.
so heavy. It was incredible. Just the unity and how much he affected the city. I mean, he was just
Hmm.
such a legend. You know what I mean? Speaking of legends, we talked about Nipsey Hussle and his inspiration to you. I know that he has inspired you with his lyrics a lot. And I know you had the opportunity of thanking him
Yeah.
before his passing. Talk about how important that was, that moment, you know, when he passed, and knowing that you got that opportunity to at least thank him. You know what I mean? What
Yeah.
was that moment like for you, and what does it mean now?
Man, it means so much, because I actually have like some pictures from it, and then there's like some short video clips from it. I was really fortunate to have met him a week before he was killed. He had just, he would do little events at the Marathon store, and I had gone a couple times. And actually, I'll even take it back to when I was on the air. It was actually during the World Series for the Dodgers, and I essentially gave him a shout out on air, and it was something to the effect of, I called him a philosopher instead of a rapper, and I said, "Philosopher Nipsey, as philosopher Nipsey Hussle would say, it's a marathon, not a sprint," because the Dodgers had fallen behind in the series, and so right after that, and by then he had already followed me on Instagram because I had done like
Nice.
a song of like Jay Stone and Pac-Man and one of Nipsey's as well, so like he was already aware of what I was doing with the songs in my car and stuff. But that moment you could tell was cool because, from the reaction of him in the comments, but also like the people around him, and some of them had reposted it and stuff. And actually, right after that, one of the employees at the Marathon store said, "Hey, they want you to come down here and just grab some stuff sometime. We'll just show you some love." And I was like, "All right, sweet." So I go down there, and his brother Black Sam was there, and so
Incredible guy. Incredible guy.
yeah,
Shout out
amazing
Black
dude,
Sam. Incredible guy.
super
So
humble.
warming. So
Yeah,
warming and receptive of everyone that walks into the store.
oh,
Bro, incredible dude.
he
Incredible.
is. It's like he made me feel like a family member. And so we walked around the complex, and he showed me what they were going to do with the barbershop, and walked me into these stores that weren't even opened yet. And then like gave me like 2 bags of clothes, wouldn't let me pay for anything, right?
They were buying the block, man. They
Yeah,
were buying the block. You know what I mean? Some talk about it, some do it. They were buying the block, bro.
they were doing it right. Got to thank a guy who you know well, DJ Head, who brought me over and said,
Shout out DJ Head.
he was like, "Hey, did you get to meet Nip yet?" And I'm like, "No." And so Head, being the guy that he is, looked out for me and walked me over there. And like, it was so cool because I saw him, he saw me. And so like, I'm going to walk to him. But before I could even like say thank you to him, he's made his way to me. And he's like, "Dude, I just want to thank you for not just that you're doing our songs, but he was like, I really fuck with your energy and just the fact that you're doing it from a good place." And that meant more than anything to me because, it's easy for guys who are like 22, 24 to see me do one of these songs and be like, "Oh, this is tight. He's doing it on Instagram, blah, blah, blah." But Nipsey comes from a different generation, and I liken him to
Different
more
cloth.
of
He's cut from a different cloth.
and of a generation of music where I would liken him to like like the respect or the acknowledgement that I'll get from a Trey D or a Nipsey, to me, means more than a rapper who's like just really like in a different generation and younger, because they're cut, like you said, they're cut from a different cloth. And I think for them, it's not just about the attention. It's like, is this person doing it with the right intentions? And that's not always easy to portray through social media when you got like a minute to basically, they either feel you or they don't. They
It's
either think
commercial.
it's fake and it's bullshit, or they can be like, "No, you know what? I really fuck with this guy." So, having that short but yet really meaningful interaction with him meant the world to me. And obviously, to have him die the way that he did, was really painful, man.
You mentioned your car videos, and you actually did one to the Janae song that we had
Mhm.
from the Rhythm and Flow show, which I appreciate, man. It was so hilarious. Let's talk about what made you start doing the car videos. I know you had mentioned that you'd done them before,
Yeah.
when you was in Texas, very sporadically. But what made you commit to the car videos? What was the turning point for you?
For me, it was leading up to that, having meetings with production houses and saying, "Hey, I've got this idea for a show. Here's my resume video. Here's where I've worked. What do you think?" Basically. And they're like, "Oh, that's great. How many followers do you have?"
Mm.
And I'm like, None, man. I've been working running TV stations for 12 years. Like this
I'm
is what
working
I've
on it.
devoted my life to, right? And I could see how important those numbers were to them. And that was the first time.
Oh,
And I'll say this, man. I'm sure there's times in your career where it's like, fuck, I feel like this is a slap in the face to all the work that I've put in, but all right, I'll figure it out. And I've had to do the same thing with social media as well. At first, there was some resentment from me. And I think as it grew, it was like, all right, I can either let this be the one thing that holds me back from my dreams, or I can like figure it out. And so I spent some time and tried to figure it out. And so once I had that first video that got reposted by Daz, and I was wearing a dress shirt and a tie, and it looked different, and I got a good reaction from it, I was like, all right, there's something here. Like, let me just keep doing them and see what happens.
yeah.
And so I started really hyper LA. It was like I do Savi Third and the East Siders, and not
You
even
did
really,
you did more local artists than you did
yeah,
big artists. How did that work for you more than doing Beyonce or
yeah.
you know what I mean? How did that work for you more doing the local, West Coast thing?
I think what it did for me was the people who were seeing it that knew like the LA songs that I was doing could also, even if they didn't see me on TV, would at least know, like, if they looked at my page and they saw, CBS, KCAL 9, CBS 2, they're like, that's an LA station. You look at a picture, he's at a Dodger game. Like, this is our sports guy. He's in our city and he's doing this. So I knew that would have a different reaction. And I also knew that it would be a lot harder for me to get reposted by a Beyonce or a Jay-Z or a Snoop, as opposed to doing more local artists who, like, they're more in tune with, they're seeing their mentions, they're seeing a DM. So like it was, and then from there, it was those artists started to then reach out to me as well and say, hey, I got this album that I'm about to drop. Can you do this for me? Kind of thing. So, I think there was different reasons why, but essentially it came down to just like start small and then start to incorporate some of these Bay Area songs that you know by heart because you've been doing it since, been singing them since 8th and 9th grade. So there was different parts of the strategy, but essentially it was like, let me stay true to the songs that I really actually fuck with and know, and they will also get the attention of some of these artists and see what I can create from there,
Nice, man. That's amazing. It's a different strategy that not many people would kind of commit to because you think you go bigger, you get more views and attention. You actually went with the local artists who would actually support and fuck with you, and it actually worked out in your favor. And you still, you've gotten some recognition. You've got a lot of followers now on Instagram. You picked up a lot of momentum. White Chocolate is schooling everybody right now on how to on how to do it. But we're gonna play forward floor. I'm gonna ask you 4 questions.
Oh
You're
shit.
gonna tell me what the first thing comes to your mind.
Oh man, you put me on the spot. I should have
we're getting it.
watched some of these episodes, bro. I still can't
We're getting it. I'm prepared, brother. Okay, so the first question is: if you could anchor one sports center, who would be your co-anchor?
Ooh, man, that's a great question, bro. I would do one with Howard Cosell, the old school cat, because it would just be so like he would be looking at me like, what the fuck are you talking about right now? You know what I mean? Like,
I would love to see that episode. I love to see you on Sports Center, man.
And I also had, like, when I grew up, I also just want to give a quick shout out to, like, Ahmad Rashad was amazing growing up.
Inside the NBA, bro.
Yeah,
everything.
So dope. So yeah, I mean, those guys definitely helped shape and special dudes.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Second question: should the NBA finish the season or is it a wrap?
No, they're gonna finish. I think what's gonna happen is I actually just saw something where it's looking like they're gonna try to start it like end of July, but
in Orlando.
Yeah, and I think they should. I mean, here's the thing. Why? Because I think
they should because I'm selfish. But I'm gonna tell you why I think they shouldn't. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I just think by now if they're even open to it, then I'm sure that they've really looked into it, like how they can do this. And I think selfishly, We want to see this
Yeah,
stuff.
say
You know,
that.
like we
Please
love
say
sports.
selfishly.
Yeah, we love sports. But like, why would if they can? Now, I think it's going to be crazy if like, what happens if a player gets it right? Does the whole team now get knocked out of the playoffs? Like, how do you deal with that? And
I
I'm
didn't
sure
think
that's
about
all.
that. I actually did not think about somebody getting infected during the playoffs. I actually did not even get that far.
Yeah,
Let me
bro.
tell you why I don't think it should continue though. Here's my thing. Picture this. I want you to have this image in your head.
Yeah.
It's game 7. 12 seconds left.
Mhm.
Tie game. LeBron's dribbling up the court. Giannis is guarding him. All you hear is the ball echoing.
Oh,
It's just quiet. It's game 7, 12 seconds left, tie game. And it's just silence, bro. I don't know how I could I accidentally clicked on the WWE. I was trying to find something for my right. Let me tell you. I clicked on the WWE and they were in there wrestling with no fans. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like it just seems so horrible. And selfishly, I want LeBron to get a ring. Regardless, let's say that the season continues, they go to Orlando, there's no fans. Does this season have an asterisk no matter who gets the championship?
here's why I don't think it does, because they're all dealing with the same thing. Now, if they start again, and as soon as we start, 4 players get infected by different teams, and boom, you got like now a third of the teams have dropped out. And you got some of the top teams, hey, we can't play anymore, blah blah.
Yeah.
Then yeah. But if it's just, hey, we've all sat out this amount of time and
Are we
go
doing
back
full
at it.
series or are we doing one-offs?
No, they're gonna do full series, bro.
7 games?
Yeah. I think
We
they're
ain't got
gonna do
time for that, bro. A
maybe
season
not the
starts in
first round.
October again.
Maybe not the first round. They might do best of 5 in the first round.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I don't know how it's gonna work in terms of like how it affects next season, but shit, that ain't my job, bro.
Nah, I feel you.
They're not paying me money to figure that out, man. You guys figure that out. As long as I can click on my free streaming service that I'm jacking from somebody else and
Facts.
watch these games, I'm good. I
Facts.
don't care
I get
myself.
every game, baby. I get every game. Okay, so next question. What is on your whiteboard / bucket list that you haven't accomplished yet?
Oh man, just to travel and show. Basically, my dream is to, travel, show how athletes live in different countries, and just be able to have like my whole life be a tax write off, and just go wherever the hell I want. And
And it's possible.
yeah, and now it is. And I think whether it's the music business, whether it's the TV business, etc., we have to understand that it's almost like reprogramming myself for sure. I'm 37 years old. Like I came into the TV business in 2004 at a time when that was not a possibility. Like working for yourself, essentially, you had to go on and just work on the weekends, work in the evenings, and work at a TV station, right? That was like just the way you did it. And then as things progressed, I had to realize like, okay, there's another way I can do this and like actually be able to go see my friends when I want to and do what I want on the weekends and not work every night. Like it's we're in different times. We're fortunate, bro, that we're able
Yeah.
to like directly relate to and get to fans. That it gives us a power that wasn't always there.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And your growth and your with your building, with your platform could allow you to travel for free.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of what you're building right now. And I commend you and I commend your bravery. And I love, welcome to the entrepreneur club, brother. Like it's a everyday grind. You know about it. And I love your history. I love where you come from. And I love that you stood up for what you believe in and you decided to move on your own, man. And it means a lot. It means a lot to the culture that you support us the way that you do and you stood up for us the way that you did. And I hope that the culture supports you the way that you support us, man, for real.
No,
Um,
it does. It does. I for real feel that.
Next question. Favorite sports moment of all time. When you think of that one moment that just I'll tell you mine after you tell me yours.
Um, shit. I'm trying to narrow it down right now.
What are you narrowing it down though? Give me the ones that you're
Yeah,
narrowing down, because I would love to hear. Like, I know you've been in sports for so long,
yeah,
seeing so many moments. What sticks out to you? Give me the top three.
yeah. Top three would be um, starting with Syracuse winning the national championship because I was a
Okay.
junior when that happened.
Oh wow,
No,
you was in school.
yeah. I was a junior. So and actually that
Is
year,
that wasn't when Carmelo played, right?
yeah, it was
It was
2003.
Carmelo played.
Yeah, 2003.
It must have been crazy.
Yeah, bro, it was nuts. It was,
I've never experienced that college life.
yeah,
Man,
yeah. That was dope. That was really something special. Um,
is
I
your college life? I gotta ask you this.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
let's real talk about it now.
yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Hey,
is
bro, I
your
don't.
is
Nobody's
your
watching this from the studio.
hey,
Like, I'm good.
is your college body count bigger than your after college body count?
Hell no,
Oh, okay. Let's get
no,
it. Let's
bro,
get it.
yo, college.
Cause I know
No,
you was
bro, I was not that dude in college. Cause like, I'll be completely honest with you, bro. I
that's so
was, I was still like, I mean, really, all throughout college, I really wasn't confident, man. Like, it took me, probably by my junior to senior years when I finally started like actually being able to gain weight.
that's crazy.
Before that, like, I was really small in high school, like 5 feet, 90 pounds freshman year. By the time I was a senior, I was maybe, 5'9", 5'10", but like 140 pounds. So I was always like really skinny. And by my junior year of college is when I finally started to like really commit to myself to the weights. And so like my senior year, I was like, all right, I'm starting to feel myself now, right? But no, shit, I can count on one hand, bro, in
If you
college.
could go back, would you?
Oh, I would fucking
You would,
annihilate.
you would annihilate. You would read
Bro, I'll
college.
be a whole new man, dog. I'll be a whole new man, bro. I didn't know, bro. I did not know what the
That's all
fuck
I'm jealous
I
of,
was
man. I'm like, I never
doing.
experienced this college life. Like
Uh,
I feel like I lived the college lifestyle for a while,
yeah,
but I don't think there's anything like that campus lifestyle and I've never even experienced it, but I know that that's an experience that I think everybody should experience. And if you have the opportunity, go to college,
yeah,
experience that, live on fucking campus, get away from your parents and live, man. I promise you, it's probably the greatest experience and the greatest lessons you're ever going to learn in life. And I love that, man. I love that. So my favorite sports moment is when the Patriots came back down 28-3
mm,
in the Super Bowl. I'm a huge Patriots fan. I'm from New England, Rhode Island. Gillette Stadium is 20 minutes from my house.
no
You know what I
shit.
mean?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Like, this is my team, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And just being down that much and just kind of sarcastically telling people like it's not over, and then them really coming back, it really just made me believe in that anything is possible. I don't care if the refs help. I don't care how it happened, bro.
Yeah.
28-3, we won. That's the bottom line. We came back. Anything's possible. But for me, like, that was like probably one of the moments that like just made me feel like it's never over. And in sports can give you some of the greatest lessons, man, because you go through emotional roller coasters and you go through these stories with your team throughout the season. And I think it just really gives you that resilience and that motivation and inspiration that everybody needs. And I just think that I can see why you attach yourself to sports so much, because I'm such a huge sports fan as well. I probably love sports just as much as I love hip hop. I just am too short to be a basketball player. That's just
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
what it is.
Hey, join the club. Yeah.
I know this is a forward floor, but I gotta ask you one more. We got the last
Oh
one,
man. Yeah.
and this one might piss me off,
All right.
so
I'm not holding back.
I'm gonna let you know.
All right.
MJ or LeBron?
It's got to be MJ, man. And I already know that you're gonna get
What?
pissed. I know you're gonna get pissed because you had already said you wanted LeBron to get another ring. Here's the thing, bro. How
Bro,
old
are
are you?
you are
How
you
old
are
are
you
you?
for real?
Be real with me. Be real with me. Real talk right now. How old are you?
Let's real talk about it.
Yeah, let's go talk about it. Now you're
Hey,
industry age. I need
my
to know
my
what age.
Wikipedia says I'm 27, bro.
All right, so you lying like a motherfucker. But here's what we're gonna say. Here's what I want to say, and I think it was good for people to watch The Last Dance because you got a glimpse into this.
Yeah, I love watching that Michael Jordan edited documentary.
Yeah. Here's the thing,
So
man.
great. It was so great.
To LeBron's credit, he will end up with, better stats than Jordan.
Is he on the Mount Rushmore?
Who, LeBron?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have to put him there.
Put him at 2 or 3.
That's
behind
a great
Kobe?
question. I think I would probably go with, if I had a starting 5, I loved Magic. I would probably go with Magic and Jordan in the backcourt. And you could definitely go with LeBron at the 3. And I think one of the guys who always gets left out of this discussion is Kareem. Bro, Kareem was a problem, bro.
Oh
like, I know that he's not as sexy as all these other options.
Listen, we're gonna have to talk about this. You want real, right?
Here's the thing.
Okay,
you say what you're about to say.
No, let's say you're a handful older than me.
Yeah.
Let's say you're a handful older than me, right?
Yeah,
all right. Yeah. Okay. You're not gonna tell me that the Wilt Chamberlain era and the Kareem era, those guys were not less athletic than the era we are in now.
You can put Kareem in today's generation. No one's blocking his skyhook. Now, granted, it doesn't look great.
That hook shot is extinct.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is extinct. It is extinct. Nobody can do that hook shot.
No.
Shaq was the last person to do a hook shot that it was effective. I mean, I watched the NBA Classic the other day, and it was like a Lakers game, and I almost forgot how crazy that hook shot from Shaq was. Like he was doing that from the foul line, bro. Like just like nobody's doing that. So I definitely can understand that. For me though, what makes LeBron the GOAT to me?
Okay, this is actually interesting for me because I'm always curious about like the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, I have absolutely a great reason and actually a factual reason why he's the GOAT. So the reason why I feel like he's the GOAT is because we have to look at it as I'm not looking at rings, right? Even though if you want to look at rings, I can argue that he went to 8 straight finals, and who gives a fuck if he won them? He dominated the East for almost a decade. He was the man. Forget what team he was on. LeBron James dominated the decade. The same way the Spurs and the Lakers dominated the early on. No, I feel like he's a player that can play all 5 positions. You can put him at center. He's playing. He's blocking shots. Put him at power forward. You put him at shooting guard. Put him at small forward. You can put him at point guard. And just the versatility, the size, the strength. We've never seen a player that is just that multifaceted. Okay. Magic was amazing. Amazing passer. Amazing. But was he really that dominating scorer? No, he wasn't. He was dishing the ball down low a lot to Kareem. You know what I mean? And my MJ was dope. MJ was cool. You know what I mean? Fadeaways, Kobe emulated MJ. We know that Kobe and MJ are married. You know what I mean? And Kobe's one of the greatest. But I feel like they are one and the same, and they weren't as physically dominant that LeBron is. And that's what makes him, I feel like, the greatest, is that we've never seen a play. Now, mind you, Zion Williamson is dominant in size and strength in the way that he is. He's a little overweight, in my opinion. He can drop some. If he drops some weight, he can be a little faster. He might even be, but he's the closest to like a LeBron-esque type of player that we've seen. And that's what makes, for me, LeBron the greatest, is that he's just overall, he can play 5 positions. And we've never seen that, bro. We've never seen that. Wilt had a great hook shot, but he wasn't running point.
No. Here I got an argument for you. You talked about physical dominance.
Yes.
Have you ever taken into consideration or given much thought to Jordan's emotional and mental dominance?
Jordan was definitely a verbal abuser and a mental abuser, for sure. Like he reminded me a lot of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson intimidated his opponents.
Yes.
And so did Michael Jordan. He got in their head, which allowed them to perform at different levels and not be able to really perform well when it was against him. They were great in during the season. It's kind of like James Harden. James Harden's great during the regular season. When it comes to the playoffs, bro, I don't want to hear nothing. He's gone. He disappears. You know what I mean? But We're talking about just, what is he in his 15th, 16th year, bro? Come on.
No, he's ridiculous. Like, don't
Come
get
on.
me wrong, bro. LeBron is he's.
What do you think he has to do
But here's the
to
thing, bro.
surpass Michael in your eyes?
Here's the thing. The argument that you're making, here would be my argument against you. The argument you're making is for who's the best all around, or most multifaceted player, and my argument is who's the best player in terms of dominance.
No, who's the greatest? Exactly, in terms of dominance. We're talking about, okay, Michael won 3, went to try to play baseball.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was doing over there. Golfing and playing baseball.
Yeah.
Came back, won 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about the help. We're talking about a guy who dragged, I don't even know who else was on the team, bro. And when he was in them years in Cleveland, Larry Hughes was the shooting guard. And he was like 36. Like, let's be real. He had Delonte West, bro. Like, he's in the finals with Delonte West and Varejao.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We're talking about a decade of straight NBA finals. Whether he won them or not, the Spurs were an incredible team. It's hard to get by the Spurs. You know what I mean? It's hard to get over the hump against a team like the Spurs, who have been around. Tim Duncan is one of the greatest power forwards ever. But we're talking about a single man dominance. We're not talking about a Chicago with Phil. And I mean, this guy, who is his coach? Who is that guy, the fat black guy? I forgot his name. Brown?
Mike Brown.
Mike Brown, bro. Come on. Bro, Mike Brown going to 4 straight finals. Mike Brown. Come on, bro. I'm just saying, we got to look at what he's dragged throughout his career. Michael Jordan has always had Phil Jackson.
Here's the thing, bro. If you're going to talk about that and say, okay, who did he drag? Well, was he dragging Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade?
Fuck yeah. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Dwayne Wade was never going to see another NBA Finals again without Shaq.
Bro, Wade, don't sleep. Wade was like Wade's a top, I would say.
Wade was in the same.
Wade's a top 25 player of all time.
Never.
Yeah, if you're looking at specific, I'm not saying in all positions. I'm saying if you're looking at like, okay, we get 5 shooting guards, we get 5 point guards, we get 5 small forwards.
Okay, yeah. In the shooting guard conversation, for sure.
So let's not act like and I'll say this.
I'll take Steph Curry. Your starting 5, my starting 5 would be Magic, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal at the 4.
What the 4? You gotta have Shaq.
Hey, nah. Hey, I didn't. Hey. I'm putting Kareem at the 5. Hey. So we need.
Honestly, to me, Kareem would feel like more of a 4 to me.
Okay, I'll swap him then. I'll put Shaq at the 5, Kareem at the 4. But
you're a Kareem fan too.
Yeah, no, I definitely am. The hook shot is real. The hook shot
gets forgot a lot, bro. In these
because they don't do it no more. No, name a center that can even pull that off anymore.
Yeah. No,
it's not a center's game no more. It's a shooting guard and small forward game.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's not even a point guard game anymore. You know.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I will say this for me, if you like, the biggest argument for LeBron and strength for him is like A, the multifacetedness that you talked about, and B, are the teams that he had to go up against, because there's no way that you can say the team that LeBron lost to in the finals from the Warriors side that Michael had ever faced a team like that. Because and I think that's why it's so tough to
J.R. Smith was his, like, I mean, Kevin Love was cool, but come on, bro.
And Kyrie's a great player, but my point is, like, that's what makes it so tough to compare guys from different eras, because this era, LeBron is going up against, this is like the super team era, right? So the teams are.
Yeah, it was never like that in the past. If Larry Bird and Michael Jordan would have joined for, like, that wouldn't. Larry Bird and Magic would have joined. Like, that would have been, that people would have fucking hated it.
Yeah,
are you crazy?
Guys back then were built different. There was more loyalty, I think, to to the franchises. And then they're also, free agency wasn't as big. So you had less guys moving around all the time. But
I think the super team was created because of the fear of not having a ring. The Charles Barkleys of the NBA.
Yeah, you guys got chased at the end of the year, at the end of their careers.
17 years in, they don't got a ring.
I got a question for you. Having seen The Last Dance and looking at this whole thing, had there been better infrastructure at the top of the Bulls between Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf, how many rings do you think, even if Jordan left to play baseball, because he said he was burnt out anyways.
He needed a reset button.
Right?
Yep.
But after coming back from that.
After The Last Dance, the team stays the same?
Yeah. How many? Well, even if, essentially more or less the team stays the same. Like if you kept.
How old was Jordan at The Last Dance?
Dude, he wasn't even that old, bro. I mean, I can try to look it up. Yeah, 30. Like Jordan
30
retired.
And LeBron's 35, right now?
Yeah, and you got to give credit to LeBron for the way that he's taken care of his body.
And LeBron retired. I mean, Jordan retired. That was the last shot in Utah, Game 6.
That's it.
Hit it, retired. Then came back as a Wizard kid.
Exactly.
Came back as a Wizard. If LeBron James comes back at 41 to the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm gonna freaking lose it.
Let's see. So right now,
that's why he ain't the GOAT. He came back with the Wizards, bro. He looks mad. Hey,
bro, he was still dropping 50
pounds. 50 pounds overweight. First of all, he was chubby as shit. It looked like somebody stretched a photo of him when he was in the Wizards uniform.
Jordan was 35 that second time he retired. So how many titles do you think he?
Okay. Let's be real. Jordan was how old when he came back for the Wizards? 35.
35.
Exactly. LeBron's 35 right now, dominating, way more crazy.
No, when he retired.
Oh, okay. When he retired, he was 35.
No, when he came back to play for the Wizards, he was 38, bro.
He was 50.
He was playing at 40 for the Wizards.
Oh, okay. That's a big one.
So 35.
Vince Carter's better than him at 40.
Playing. How many titles do you think he wins? If he doesn't
Two more.
So then you've got a guy who wins, by your account, 8 rings.
8 rings.
How can, bro?
I think they would have went 5 in a row if they would have kept the Last Dance alive. But that doesn't change the 8 in a row. And dragging Varejao.
Bro, the East, guys. But the East has always been the weaker conference.
So you're not. That doesn't change the argument because so was Jordan. He was in the Eastern Conference.
I'm saying of that era, the Eastern Conference during Jordan's time, you still had to go through the Pistons up until Jordan was able to get past them, and then the stronger teams, you had the Knicks and the Pacers.
Hey, Toronto was
Back then, Toronto wasn't even a team yet, fool.
I'm talking about right now. Toronto, gave us a little bit of a fight. Yeah. No, Celtics, Celtics fought hard,
Yeah.
I just, hey, LeBron's the GOAT, man. That's it. LeBron's the GOAT.
I always get mad at like Skip Bayless and those fools for arguing all the time. But I must say, like, this was actually fun to argue against each other for this.
No, it definitely is. Especially with people that know sports. You know what I mean? Like, I know you know your shit. So it was crazy because I was thinking of the forward floor and I had my 4 questions and I'm like, I gotta ask him the MJ and LeBron question. Like, I have to because I know you've experienced both eras. It's very important to ask people that have experienced both eras. Because I'll be honest, when I first started watching basketball and really got in tune with basketball, Jordan was just retired.
Yeah.
So I started watching Kobe from the beginning. I watched Kobe for 20 years.
Yeah.
And Kobe was my Jordan. You feel me? Yeah. And like I never experienced Jordan live. I never experienced him during his career. So I can't say that I don't know if he's the GOAT. I seen highlights, you know what I mean? But for what I experienced from LeBron, like I said, the overall dominance, the being able to play multiple positions, that's what I think makes him the most dominating player. I know there's been dominating players in the past, but they've never been able to do, a Kareem had magic. LeBron can pass it. If he could double himself, he would be the point guard and the power forward. You know what I mean? So it's like That's what I think makes him the GOAT. But I can feel why you have your battle for Jordan. You know what I mean? And that Last Dance was not put out accidentally at this time. I know the conversation has been going on, and he put out that Last Dance, and it was edited by him, approved by him.
Hey, man.
So now everybody's back on the Jordan bandwagon, Googling Jordan. But I'm Team LeBron all the way. I feel like he's the best to ever do it so far. And we'll see where it goes from there. What do you think is next for you? Let's say quarantine is lifted. When do you think it's safe for you to go back out for one?
Right now, bro. I'm a bit, dog. I gotta get loose.
So many people are having cabin fever. They don't even care no more. It's like, look, man, if I catch it, I catch it, bro. I gotta go outside, bro. Jesus. My girl, it had flew out the house so fast this weekend. She's like, look, bro, if I get it, I get it. That's it. I've got to get the fuck out the house. Is that how you feel?
Like, not that bad. I joke about it. But I'm really excited about having a show that essentially is going to be something where I've partnered with a brand, and I was really actually two. So Genesis came on board to essentially loan me a car for a year and say, hey, go shoot your interviews. It'll be an interview type of show.
That's a sponsorship.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
So, thank you, bro. And so
amazing.
I'm calling it Cruising with Kevin, and it's basically me. I'll go pick up a musician like yourself, or I'll go pick up an influencer or an athlete, whatever. Let's get to know them. Let's play some music. Just vibe, essentially, right? And so
you're filming this all.
Exactly, with GoPro cameras and 1R cameras, and I got all the stuff here ready to go. I just got
could end up on Revolve, bro. You could end up with your own show.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. That's it.
I had the monetary sponsors with this company called Crep Protect. They're out of the UK, and they make shoe cleaners and different shoe accessories for that whole culture. And so essentially it's a way of me shooting these episodes, working with the people that I want to work with, and getting paid to do so. So
nice.
I was literally like, I had just got in the car and was about to do my first interview when the virus hit and everything shut down. So on one hand, I was pissed. And then on the other hand, I was really fortunate because had it happened before I got the car, who knows if
you would have still had the sponsorship after the fact.
Because things have changed with these corporations.
So you basically signed the deal.
It's all ready to go. Yeah, ready to go. So
thank God.
I'm super happy. Lexani even put wheels on the car. So like,
hey, let's get it.
Yeah, and when you were mentioning that you hope the hip hop culture and the people that I've shown love to are like supporting me just as much. They are, because whether it's a Lexani wheels or a Crep Protect or Genesis saying, hey, we love what you're doing. Let's figure out a way that we can all eat from this. That was always my goal, my dream. So
I love that.
I'm super excited and pumped. I actually have some from one of my friends, some self-testing kits where you just prick your finger and it tells you if you're positive or negative for COVID.
Wow.
So I'll be hopefully able to utilize those because,
then you could keep working for
now
sure.
Is like, hey, I know I'm good, but I don't have kids or a grandma at the house. Like some of these people that I'm interviewing do, and they've got to be more careful than I do in that sense. Like they can't bring it home to their spouse or whatever. So I do have to be really like careful about that and go about it the right way, but I do want to get this shit cracking.
What are you gonna call it?
Cruising with Kevin.
Cruising with Kevin. I love that.
Yeah. So I already have that's some of the merch that's on my website, which is just kevincuencatv.com/shop. Some of the stuff, like some of the merch items are have that slogan on it. So it's fun, man. Like, you've taken over control of your destiny, and I'm just trying to do the same thing, man.
No, that's the beautiful thing.
And
brother.
By the way, we'll definitely have you on the show when you come to LA. We can turn the tables, and I'll be asking you all the hard questions.
Nah, I like that. I gotta come and hop in the whip, hop in the Genesis, and get it cracking for sure. I
Yep.
think it's a beautiful thing that they partnered with you. And it's a blessing from God that it was right before this pandemic, because you still have the opportunity to do what you need to do once this thing opens back up. And having that testing on the spot is gonna make guests more comfortable. You know what I mean? Especially with everything that's going on. I can't wait to link with you and do that. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, man. I mean, it was so much fun hearing your story and finding out more about you, and not just, interviewing hip hop guests. I want to interview guests from all assets of entertainment, and you being an advocate for hip hop and everything that you've been through. I wanted to have you on the show so that way people can hear your story and just get to know more about you. You know what I mean? And I thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, man.
Bro, I had a blast. Like I can't tell you, this
Yeah.
was actually a lot of fun. For
Thank
real,
you,
bro.
man.
And
Thank you.
you do a great job as a host. Like I'm not just
I
saying that because
appreciate
I'm
it,
here.
man. Thank
Like
you.
for real,
Thank
for
you
real.
so much, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I asked good questions, and not just like, when I do interviews, it's always like, so why'd you want to rap? It's like, well, I was 5 and my mother left me. Yeah, it's just like, yo, bro. I wanna give you an interview, and I want to give interviews with a sense of that I'm already familiar with that person, and I want to ask the questions that normal interviewers won't ask. You know what I mean? And not the basic bullshit. You know what I mean? So that's why it's called Let's Real Talk About It. And I appreciate your honesty with everything. You know what I mean? And being open to answering all my questions.
No, that's so huge, bro. Like if you can continue to do that in your interviews where you're already looking at, okay, I know this about them from their bio. I've read this, so I know about this. You can ask better questions because you're not asking like the factual questions. You're asking like the more thoughtful, behind the scenes, feeling type of questions. And that's so important, man. When you only have, like one shot at getting to know somebody, or you have a certain amount of time, you're not wasting it by like, okay, so what about this? It's like, dude, that's on the bio, bro. We could be talking
Yeah.
about some real heavy shit right now, but
No,
we're
facts,
wasting
facts.
time.
Facts,
That's
man.
dope.
Facts. So
Congrats,
thank
dude.
you so much, man. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for the compliments too. I appreciate it. It's only my third episode, so I'm trying to, you know what I mean, get it going for sure.
bro. And I'll say this before you let me go. I'm gonna give you a um, something to put on your whiteboard, which
Dope.
is because of your voice, literally just like your accent and your voice and your tone. And then also on top of that, your background, your knowledge, your love for sports and different things. I really want to hear your voice on a commercial spot, a playoff, like commercial promo type. Like you have a really good promo voice for sports stuff.
Oh, dope,
That
man. Thank you.
like for real, I'm not just saying that. When I heard your tone and just like the way that you pronounce certain words, where it's like, okay, he's definitely from the Northeast. You gotta think about all these times when like the Patriots make a playoff promo or the Celtics got a big series coming up. Like that's kind of shit where they need a voice that sounds like one of their own, but
Yeah.
maybe they're tired of using the same white dude that they've used for the last 5 years, or they want to tap
That's
into like
facts.
a different industry or a different lane. Like you could be that dude for that region. So just like whatever it is, I know that's like a huge like well fuck Kev, help me do that shit. Well, how do I do it? But I just like if there's any way I can help you along the way. I just heard that, and from being in on the other side of that camera for a long time and knowing how certain things are put into play, like you are just as good as anybody else and could definitely do that stuff. So just,
Man, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And it means a lot coming from you, man. Coming from an Emmy Award winning, you know what I mean, sports reporter, brother.
yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I commend you, man. I thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to sit down with us and be open to such a new platform that I am building, and for sharing your journey, man. God bless you. And I want all my followers and all of my viewers to follow you and continue the journey and enjoy the laughs too. You're very entertaining, you're very insightful. And I followed you the moment that I came across you, and I thank you, for following back and giving me back that same energy, brother.
Absolutely. And if there's anyone that you see me connected to that you're like, man, I'd really like to get that person on, or I sent them a DM, but they haven't gotten back to me, just hit me.
Thank you,
Because
man.
the way that you conduct these and the professionalism and the research that you do, et cetera, like I'm definitely down to vouch for you. Like, hey, just this is a worthwhile interview for these
Thank you.
folks. So, and you have your own platform too. That's
Yeah,
like
no, for
you
sure,
use
man.
that as leverage. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
definitely don't hesitate to like just reach out and hit me for that stuff.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, King.
All right, big dog.
All right,
Tear
man.
it up.
God bless you, man. Much
You
love.
too.
All
Enjoy the
right.
rest of the day. All right, brother. Peace.
I heard somebody say my name in this. Bitch, no way, no way, no. Cause ain't nobody trying to play with us. No way.